Hello everybody, today I'm doing Oh My Webserver on TryHackMe, so let's have a look at the Nmap scan. So we can see we have two parts open, SSH and part AE web server. One thing I'd like to point out is that Apache is running an outdated version, which you can see right here, as normally they run on a slightly higher version, so that's one thing that I pointed out straight away. So I'll confirm our suspicions, we can run a Metasploit, so we can do MSF console-q. This may take a little while to start up, so I'll quickly show what the web server looks like. And if you look at the web server, we'll be able to see it's just something just normal. There's nothing really to look at or anything vulnerable. I tried XSS and I tried to do some brute forcing directories, but it did not work as it's not vulnerable to anything. So this is just a massive dead end, and the main way to get in is through this outdated version of Apache. So let's use Metasploit to automate this and to make our lives a little bit easier. So let's get the service version and put that in, and we can see straight away we can use 0, and we can do show option to see how many is available. To do show options, we can see lhost and lport. If we do lhost turn 0 for our OpenVPN IP address, you can see mine's here. And one of the first things you want to remove is SSL, since we're not going to be using port 443, which is for HTTPS. Do SSL false. So if we do our port and set that to 80 and our host, and we set that to our IP, which is here, we'll grab that, we'll put that in, and we can see that's done. And if you look at again, we can see if we've missed anything. It looks like that we have set everything up right, so if we just do run, it should hopefully give us a cell, and straight away we can see that it is vulnerable and it has opened a meta-interpreter session, and we can see we're using a meta-interpreter shell with a reverse TCP, and we can see we're still in the first stage and it has opened a shell. And if you do get UID, you can see we're looking at the daemon user, and this isn't like a proper user, it's more of a service. And one thing I want to do straight away is get a Python-free TTY shell. So if we just Google this up, and if we try to just copy this, you can see right now Python-free import TTY bin bash. This will give us a proper shell. And if you do ls, it may take a little bit, but we can see it has worked. And if you do pwd, we can see we're in the bin directory. So if we go to the home directory, and we can see that everything just seems normal, and if you try to go to home, we won't be able to see anything. So what this tells us is that we may be running inside a container or anything. So if you do ifconfig, this could be a dead giveaway. We can see our IP address is 172.17.0.2, so we can see this, there may be something running on number 1, and this is a good hint of Docker. If you also check etc host, this may be another giveaway. We can see our IP is very weird, and you only get this on Docker containers, so this is another dead giveaway that we're running in a Docker container. If we do cat etc password as well, we can see that there's no other user, which is incredibly strange considering that in most systems we at least have one other user than root running on any Linux system. So this is a massive giveaway that we're running on Docker from all those like hints, I guess you could say, or thing to look at. So one thing I want to do now is get LinPEAS up and running. So if we do peas, well, I've installed LinPEAS. So if you do sudo apt install peas on your Kali system, I think you'd be able to install LinPEAS. So I'm gonna quickly go over to that directory and type in LinPEAS. This should allow me to run LinPEAS. So if we do python-free-m http server. Now we could do which wget, but I don't think we have wget on the system, and which curl. We can see we get curl installed, so we know we have curl, but we can't use wget, so we'll have to get my IP address, which will be, you should use your own OpenVPN IP address, but I'm using mine since my server is on port 8000, and we want to get LinPEAS.sh and grab that. Whenever I put slashes, and if we do -o LinPEAS.sh, you can see it's downloaded. If you do ls, we can see it's been downloaded. So if you do change mod +x LinPEAS.sh, we should be able to run this properly now. So if you run LinPEAS, we'll see this is working, and we can see we haven't got any network connectivity, which is a very strange thing. So this is another guess that we're running in like an isolated Docker container. So we got a bunch of hints, and if you look at LinPEAS, it should tell us if we're running in Docker as well. So yeah, Docker, is this in a container? Docker, any running containers? No, but from our own, assumptions and points, we could see we're running in a Docker container. We can see we get a Docker container ID, and if we keep scrolling down, we should hopefully be able to see anything of interest. But since LinPEAS takes a little bit of a while, I'm just going to leave this running for a little bit. So I'll let the LinPEAS script run for a little bit, and we can see we found something right here. So we can see we can run Python with a capability. So capabilities allow you to run a certain file or binary with elevator privileges which can be used to gain access to root. So if we go to GTF4 bins, just type in GTF4 bins on Google, which is a good way to escalate privileges. So we can see right here, we can see we get capabilities. So if we go to capabilities, and we can see we're running Python 3, so we won't just run Python. So if we do Python 3, or if we do which Python 3, we can see we have Python 3. But if we do which Python, I don't think we'd have anything. Yeah, we don't have Python installed. We have Python 3, which is the latest version of Python. So if you just copy this and put this in, we should hopefully get a root. We can see it turned into a hash symbol, so we can see we're running as the UID of root. So if we go over to root and we do ls, we can see we get root.txt. So if you just do cat user.txt, you'd be able to get the user flag. So all we need to do now is try to find the root shell. Since we know we're in a Docker container, we're most likely gonna need to go to this container here. I looked at cron jobs, MySQL, and tried to look for everything, like all the services running, but there was nothing really running except from this web server, which is just a massive rabbit hole and a dead end. So one of the things we need to do now is to run Nmap. We want to Nmap the port. So if we just do ping, which is a quick way to check, and we do ping 1, actually this won't work since we haven't got a bin, like a fully interactive shell. But if you've ever done Docker hacking, you'll be able to figure that out. So if you look for static binaries on Nmap static binaries, this will allow us to run Nmap without like downloading anything properly onto the system. So if we do Andrew D, like static binaries are things that are pre-compiled and they're easier to carry over to any system you want, and they're less likely to get like detected by any EDR or whatever. Because if you're gonna install Nmap, it may raise some suspicions, but if you just carry it over from your attacking machine, it's less likely to get picked up, and it's also a way easier. So if we go down to your downloads as well, and if we change, well, we don't need to change mod this, to be fair. We can just do python 3-m HTTP server, and if we curl this over as well, so if we just put in my IP address, which will be up here for you, it'll be yours. We'll put mine in quickly, and we're going to need to put in the port 8000. Now we're going to need to carry Nmap over to our machine. Don't forget to put -o to save it as a file. So we can see this is working, and it should hopefully have done it, and it has. So if we just do change mod plus x nmap, and we can run nmap, and if I do ifconfig one more time, we can see we'll need to scan -1. So if we do -pp for all ports, and I can't remember the actual specific syntax, we do nmap min rate. So we can see min rate right here. We're gonna do min rate 5000. I think that's the max you can go without crashing on a scene, or the max that nmap can handle. So if I change this min rate 5000, this should hopefully be slightly quicker. We can see this isn't a proper like nmap, binary, as this has been pre-compiled, so it doesn't have, so we can't do UDP scans or whatever. So we can see this is the port here. So if I just do wart-port.cve and put exploit, since we can't get any more information, we could also look for this and try to see what's running on this and looking for exploits, but you can see this is closed and this is open, so this is a dead giveaway that this may be the way in. We also have port 80 open, but that's a massive dead end as well. So to speed things up, we'll just use this RCE. So if we look at this CVE, we can see we got an RCE, and if you go GitHub, we may be able to get exploit. This is the one that I use. You can also use this top one, but this is the one I used before and it worked really well for me. So we're gonna download this Python script. We're gonna download this quickly, and we'll have to carry this over as well to our victim's machine. So if we do Python 3 and create a web server again, and if we do curl, I think I may have the curl syntax up here. So yeah, here's the curl syntax. I'm just gonna replace a couple of things quickly. So I'm gonna get the Python script name, click that, drag that over, and save this to a file as well. So we can see that was pretty quick, which is a good sign, I guess. So let's just run this and see what the tags that we'll need will be. So we can see we need a T for target. We already know what our target is. That should make things slightly more easier. So we get a target right here, and the command we can use, we could get a reverse shell, but I'm gonna be really lazy and just try to cat the root.txt. So if we just cat root, we should hope and pray this works. So we also get the root flag, so that's pretty much the whole room done. So you just put those two in,